there is something so powerful about this move of dissolving all borders. One of the things that's really interesting about the Bible is that the foundation of creation, God is there making separations, creating categories in sort of the abstract, right? Light and darkness, male
Mm.
and female, land and sea. Like, and so when you read Genesis 1 and just see God is a God who creates, separates, creates categories. And so what she was describing there at the end of like all the desire to dissolve all categories and to just kind of call into sort of some kind of philosophical question whether or not any categories actually exist. There is no such thing as day or night. This is an assault. It's really the unmaking of Genesis 1. It's pulling everything back. And
Yeah.
I know I was struck once. In Shabbat ceremonies within Jewish homes, at the end of Shabbat, they light a Havdalah candle, and it one of the things that they say over the Jews as they're lighting the candle is, "Blessed are you, Lord God, King of the universe, who makes the distinction between sacred and mundane, between light and darkness, between Israel and the
Mm.
nations, between the seventh day and the sixth workday. Blessed are you, Lord God, who makes the distinction between the sacred and the mundane." And I think that, part of what they're celebrating is a Genesis 1 reality that we live in these rhythms and these categories, and there's something so important about humanity going in and out of rest and rest and work and in and out of these different categories, and that when there's clear boundaries and you can move from one place into the other, there's something like we're built for that. We're built for these different categories. One of the things I've mentioned to people is I don't think it's good enough to agree that the gender binary exists. You need to love the gender binary because it was created by God. Like, celebrate it. It's so good that there's a strong distinction between male and female, between
Mm.
darkness and light. Like, these aren't categories that we're like, yeah, I guess they exist in the real world, but wouldn't it be wonderful if we somehow could figure out how to dissolve them? Have you read Genesis 1? God created these different things to bless us. And he looked at them and said, "It is good. It is good that these things are separated. It is good that the boundary lines are clear." And we live in a culture that says, "No, it is not good." They're saying the
Mm.
opposite of what God says in Genesis 1. And that's why
Yeah.
I think in these Jewish ceremonies where they're celebrating the distinction of categories, there's such ancient wisdom there to say we not only need to acknowledge the truth of different categories, of boundaries between things, but celebrate the difference and celebrate that that boundary exists and that it's clear. And then we get to teach our children where these clear boundaries are. That wisdom really comes from that ability to discern the clear distinction between categories.